Hi, Kevin Purcell for GottaBeMobile.com. I want to show you Color Strokes HD. They've just updated this and created a new version that works on the iPad. And when you open it up, what this does is it allows you to create photos. If you've seen these black and white photos that have just an element of the picture that's in color, I think remember the first time I ever saw that was in the movie Schindler's List, but it's just a really neat effect for certain things. And so when it opens up, notice that of course, it's got this little news up in the corner, and they're just spam from the company. Big deal there. But there's three options. You can import a photo either from your photo collection on your iPad, from your Facebook. I'm not going to do that, but or you can take a picture with the app itself. Let's load one. Let's find a different one here. All right. This one's got some good hard lines. Now, this works best with pictures that have a real hard edge to it. Notice this box. This is my iPad mini box, and it gives a real hard edge, so it's going to be real easy to paint over this. Looking at the bottom here, we've got the toolbar. When you're done, you hit that done button on the left. It has an undo and redo. So let's say whoops, want to fix that, so I just undo it. Maybe I liked it. No, I didn't like it. So the undo redo button, go back and forth. To color, what it does is it uses masks. If you've used Photoshop, you understand what a mask is. Basically, that's just saying, do you want to show or hide the part that you paint over it to make it work. Now, this grayscale, you can either make it a regular grayscale, a sepia, or blue tone. We'll show you what the blue tone looks like. Here's the sepia, which I kind of like that. I think we'll stick with that. And then here's the paint color that you're using. Personally, I don't know why they even bother with that. But here's the brush. It's got 4 preset brushes. One that's got a real hard edge. One that's got a very soft edge, which is better for maybe things that aren't as don't have a real hard edge. And then it's got these 2 options that have the opacity turned down. And what that'll do is that'll just add some of the color back. You won't get all of it. This option shows the brush outline or doesn't. You can either have the zoom preview or not, and I'll show you what that does in just a second. But let's choose this hard edge. And at first, we're going to make a real big brush. Let's do our first couple of things. But see how I'm coloring over this? And what that's going to do is then bring that back. We'll hit the brush again, bring down the size. All right. And now we want to be a little more precision. So now what we're going to do is we're going to kind of keep our eye on that zoom preview up in the corner. Now this is one of those things where if you had a stylus, you'd probably be a lot more accurate. But what I've found a good way to help this is if you're using your finger might be covering over something. So go ahead and double hit the home button and choose your lock. You may have the lock button set. I use the button on the side of the iPad for mute instead. But that allows you to then rotate your iPad. You can't see it on screen because the screen capture app I'm doing won't show it. But I'm at this time doing it in portrait mode, and this now lets me get a lot more precision. Now see on that, I kind of went over the edge, so I'm going to undo that one. But if you then you can get pretty close. It's hard with a finger, probably be easier but I'm not going to waste a lot of time to make this really accurate. Let's just kind of go over it now to give you the idea of what it looks like. I'll show you one that I spend a little more time on. Now, tap on the color, and you can clear the mask. That gets rid of it. I didn't really want to do that, but I did it. So now I'd have to sort of do it all over again. So now what I'm doing is instead of coloring it over, I'm just erasing out the sepia tones on that. So you can, as I said, you can either paint over colors, which I did that with the paintbrush, That's if you want to add just certain colors, or if you use the color brush highlighted, you can paint over it. Now when you're done, and I've got this, again, I didn't do a very good job of it, but just to kind of show you what you can do after you're finished with it. Your brightness, let's say I want to bring up the brightness just a little bit. The contrast, I want to bring that up a little bit. I'd like to add some vignette to the photo. Notice how it darkens the edges. That's called vignette. Go over here to the native color. Maybe I want to bring up the saturation quite a bit. This is such a, it was really kind of a bad choice. I should have used something with more color in it, but you can see it brings it up. Change the hue. Maybe I want it to look more green or more purple. No, let's go back to the middle, 50. All right. And then the background, you can change the amount of background color you have. Hit apply, and that finishes it. Now, that shows you the masks, and that hides the mask. So that'll let you see where you've already painted and not painted. Now, there's also some effects. By default, it has no effect. If we want sort of a soft effect, we can add it there. All that does is sort of changes the color and the contrast a bit. If you want this dreamy effect, there you go, and then the hard light effect. Personally, I didn't think these effects were all that good. I think they could have done a much better job with that, but anyway, you get the idea of how it works. If you're real creative and you want to take photos and then have just one color showing up, this is a lot easier than exporting it to Photoshop and taking a bunch of steps on it. So this might be a real useful app for you. Normally it costs, I believe it's $4.99 is the price tag on it. You may find it on sale at different times. This comes from MacFun. They do a lot of really great apps for photography and image editing on the iPad, which I really like. But I would say this is a real good app, and I would recommend it. So for me, it's a buy, and probably if you use the App Store rating in the App Store, I'd say I'd give it about a 4-star rating. Could be better, but it's actually pretty good. So then when you're done with it, you can export it to your camera roll. You can make a postcard out of it. Use Instagram, Flickr, Twitter, Facebook, send it by email, or you can print using the AirPrint feature. Or you just start over. This has been Kevin Purcell with Color Strokes HD. Thanks for watching.